Hey, what is up, y'all? So this is going to be my weekly watch list for August, the week of August 3rd. Now, we do have quite a bit of companies coming out with earnings. In this watch list, I'm going to go over specifically PLTR, AMD, Shopify, and Airbnb. You got a lot of other ones to look at that you could certainly have some good outcomes, but I'm just going to go over these right here. Now, I'm also going to go over SPY, QQQ, IWM, Tesla, Nvidia, and Apple. So let's kick it off with SPY here. So let me show you first what the setup is, and then we'll kind of work backwards into the daily time frames. So what I'm looking for here on this time frame, I'm looking for price to come into the zone, bounce, come back up here, and then I could take it up to this upside right here, this R zone, and then potentially even go higher. So I'll be very patient on that. For the downside move, now one of the things you'll see is this was an aggressive move upward. So we'll look to see if we rebalance this a little bit more, and I'd be looking to take a move from here to here. But we got to see if there's going to be some acceptance below that. Now, if we just jump out to a higher time frame, what you're going to find on this ticker is here's what we did. We ended up going from a high, low, and then we just kind of started moving, and then we reversed the whole entire process. So they try to sell it off hard here, went all the way, bought it back up here, and then just kept moving. So we're gonna see, do we stay underneath this R zone and then push right back down, or was this the end of the road for the downside? And then now we're gonna look to the upside. So that's what I'd be looking for on QQQ to go up, or excuse me, for SPY. Now for QQQ, this one, very similar, but the difference is I don't have anything in the middle here. Now you'll see that right here in this area, it's a decision zone. Okay, so that's not something I want to be trading in. Market dumped from over here all the way down here, and then they just bought it back up. This aligns to the 50% fib. So if you just see from here to here, they literally brought it right back up and then just went sideways the rest of the day. Now, what I want to see happen from here is I want to see this thing come down here, get accepted, and then push down further into this R zone. If it does come up, I'd like to see it come up here. It needs to hold and it needs to go up. So we're looking for something like this to go higher. What I don't want to do is I do not just want to see this. I don't want to see it just poke his head, hold it, and then come back this way. Now, what I'll be very, very careful on in the morning, on Monday morning, is if this all of a sudden dumps like this, and then it just shoots vertically right there, then I'll be very careful because I don't want to get trapped in this area. So I'll let it rebalance itself, then come back up, and then we could take it this way. So this is something I'd be looking for there. Now for IWM, IWM right now is currently, let me take you to a high time frame, is currently inside of a parallel channel. So what I'd be looking for right here is I need to see price get above this channel, above this line, and then we could take it back up to about 300. Or the other option would be get underneath here, hold the trend line, and then come back down. We've got a couple of issues though. The first one that we have is we're sitting literally inside the fib golden zone. So you'll see that they just have pushed it down into the fib golden zone, and then it has just pushed it right back up. So they're defending this pretty hard. And now if it loses this area, the 618, which happens to be where the S zone is as well, you'll see that they'll come down and then into this area. But the problem is you've got this trend line that's really holding sturdy. And let me show you where it comes from, because I drew it as a white for a reason. You'll see where it's come from. It comes from the actual weekly time frame. Look how clean that has been. Nice parallel channel to the downside. So I don't really have a move unless we get up. I do have an alert. You'll see I have the alert right here. I have the alert set on that one. Okay, so we'd be looking at, I'm going to go ahead and send an alert on the fib as well. I'm going to set it to the 618. That way I can take a look to the downside if something happens from there. So now let's hop into AMD. Let's hop into Tesla first, and then we'll hop into some earnings. For Tesla, let me take you to a high time frame. So during the week, here's what happened. or at least during the month, they've sold it off. And then this last week, all they did was they accumulated in this area. So the question we need to ask and find out is it going to accumulate like this for a couple of weeks? And if so, then we could expect an expansion. If not, if we have a move this week this way, then what that's going to tell us is going to be a pullback to continue, possibly going further down. So, what I'd be looking for on 0DTE contracts or weekly contracts, here's what I'm looking for right here. I need to see price get above this R zone right here. I need to get above this R zone. If I can get above this R zone, then what will happen is I can take it to this next R zone. Now, if we get above this R zone, I'm pretty confident what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going all the way up to 329, because this R zone right here is a small R zone. It's a minor resistance zone. It's not a major. And so I'd look to see, kind of hold on, maybe take some profits right here, and then see how it reacts. If it gets above and just clears it, that would be clearance from there. If it gets all the way back down to the bottom, I need to see acceptance below this S zone. Get below that, hold it, and then go. Once again, when I'm talking about acceptance, I needed to see this stuff, right? That's what we need to see. What I don't want to see is I don't want to just see it poke its head and then do this. So be very careful. I'll be looking if this drops in the morning from 311 from 311 all the way down to in here to 301. That's a $10 move. If that happens on a vertical up and down like this, then I'm pretty confident that what's going to happen is they're going to trap anybody who's trying to take a put position and then take it back up this way. So you got to be very careful on that. So those are the moves that I'm looking for. For Nvidia, this is another one I'm looking at right now. Nvidia, I only have one move on Nvidia, and this is up above 202. So I need to see this go up. What they did was they've been running it. Now, let me take you to a higher time frame. I want to take you to a weekly for a moment just to kind of show you, because here's what happened. You see this area right here? That actually caused a reversal. So this actually is now on an uptrend. So they went back, balanced this part out, came literally right back to where this started. So if I just draw a line right here, for example, you'll see that they just came back right into this area, grabbed the liquidity, and then just pumped it right back up. So what I'd be looking for is I'd want to see this get above the S zone to go higher right here above this red S zone. Now, what I don't want to do is I don't want to take a position down to the downside. A downside move for me would be down here. If I can get this acceptance, I'll take it here. And the only reason why is because it's just not worth the risk to reward from here to here, from here to here. So I'd have to see some good acceptance. For example, I'd have to see something like this where it's pushing through, hold it, and come, you know what I mean? I'd have to see something like that to take the move from way up here. But we'll see what the market gives us. But I don't have a downside unless I can get into that area. So I'm going to draw that out right now, and I'll just draw this so I could at least have this come Monday morning. So that would be my move on Nvidia. Now let's talk about Apple. Apple had a really interesting sell-off on Friday. So it dropped from way up here at about 329, and it dropped all the way down to 299. So what they did was they immediately bought it right back up, and they came right into my S zone, right to the penny. If I were to turn this on right here on the middle line, you'll notice that my middle line matches up right to the weekly fib. And so what they did was they literally just dropped right here, and then they pumped it back up. Now, this is on an overall uptrend right now, right? This is just nothing more than a deeper pullback. If I just take you to a weekly time frame, this is just nothing more than a deeper pullback. Here's your low, there's your high, there's your low, there's your higher high. So this is just nothing more at the moment is nothing more than just a pullback. However, something you want to be mindful of, there is a reversal signal that has now just started. This just started this Friday when the session closed. This is now the reversal to the downside. Only question is, Do we come back up, grab some liquidity to come back down, if that's what it's going to do? Or does it just hold above and they defend it and then pump it higher? So what I'm looking for as an options trader is I'm looking for it to get above into that S zone. I want to get it. I want to get in there, and I want to get acceptance back in there. So if I could get this, then I can take it this way. Okay. To the downside, if they lose that 618 fib, which is right at the S zone as well. So if they lose the fib in the S zone and they get acceptance at the bottom and we get that acceptance, then I'd be taking the move this way down to this 786. Now that 786 also aligns with a key checkpoint from the monthly time frame. Okay. So I'd be looking for it to go right back into this area. And then for some earnings, let's look at AMD. These are going to be more some equity positions and possible zero DTE options. So you'll see right now that on AMD. Now let me take you to a high time frame on this real quick, because you'll see. You see this candle right here? Solid candle. Full control is still with the bears. So if we take a fib from the high to the low, you'll notice it came right into the fib and then rejected it. Where did that fib come into? Right into my R zone, right? So this is why I say all the time, you need to be really comfortable with charting the institutional areas where the money's at. So that fib gave me that confluence. So the question really comes down to this. Will it come down lower? Meaning, will it take out this low and pump lower? Or will this come back and then right at this 46638, use that as a bounce and then continue to move higher? So that's something that's going to be super important. Now, what I'd be doing in the market open, if I'm going to be trading this, depending how the contracts are, well, this is what I'd be looking for right here. A move to the downside from here. However, what I would be thinking is, being that this is a solid candle still, it'll probably just come this way on an aggressive distribution. And then it's got to go like this for a minute before it pumps and takes off. Now, notice where this is. This is right into the S zone, into the RW. So this is a very strong liquidity area that the market's going to end up looking for. PLTR, this is another one I'm going to be looking at. PLTR, this is more going to be more of an equity position that I'm going to be watching. It's not so much of a, at least not at the moment, not so much for a zero DTE. And you'll see that what it's done right now is just building lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, but it's now coming into this compression. And when we zoom out a little bit into a higher time frame, you'll notice that we've had this huge expansion, got a distribution. So we're sitting around the 786, even in the golden zone, but it's starting to compress a little bit. So the question we really have is, which direction is this possibly going to go? If we can get above this area, it's clearance there, but you're still looking at about a $40 move from there. The other one would be, if you get below 105, you could take it there. You could take a position right now at during the week as an options trader. I'd be looking possibly, if this held the R zone right here and we get that acceptance that we want, so we come down, then I'd take it right back to that area. That's certainly possible right there. And then finally, the last one that I'm looking at is going to be, there's two more. Shop is one of them. Now, Shop is a position I have right now. I'm holding it at the moment. This is a position that I bought somewhere down here. So it's gone all the way up here, 185. I'm still in the position. I'm really looking for the target to come all the way back up to this R zone up here. So we'll see if it does. Now, what this has been doing right now, if you could just see from in here, it's literally just been in a box the entire time. So if I just take a box there and I take the box range, I'll go right there, put it on top. So that takes me into more or less around that R zone, my profit target that I'm looking for. So we'll see. If it does not hold, this is an earnings play. So if it does not hold and it loses this fib, this 786, then ultimately I'll get out of the trade, because my stop loss is down underneath this one here. And then finally, Airbnb. I think it's ARB, Let me see. Airbnb. There you go. ABNB. So Airbnb, kind of like IWM, but inversely. So this is in a uptrend, but on a parallel channel. Notice how they just keep going it up, down, up, down, up, down. So what I would need to see happen is I want to see, notice my green line, that's my midpoint line of my charting, right? So if I take that off, okay, that's my midpoint line. Again, this is why I can't stress enough that knowing how to chart is incredibly important. So what I would be looking for here is if I can get this to get above the trend line, get accepted above the trend line, then we're headed up this way to about 170 or so, maybe even a little higher, depending on what the earnings plays are. The other one is if it gets below the trend line, which gets below the R zone there, and it stays underneath, then you're coming down for quite a bit. So those are the plays that I'm looking for this week coming up. There are some other things that I will update as the week goes on. I'll do that in my channel, USC Iceman, on Discord. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Talk to you soon. Take care.